Good afternoon. Last night the Royals won Game 2 of the Braves. Bats came alive. The Royals were leading 4-0, but the Braves started hitting with 2 outs and making it look easy. 4-3. Seth Lugo pitched well up until that point. Hunter Harvey came in and shut the door. The bottom of the 7th was a big hit by Kyle Esbell. He scored 3 runs and a misplay and left. Gave the 3 runs to the Royals. The Royals would scored 2 more to open it up, 9-3, but the Braves would grab 1 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th, but Carlos Estevez shut the door in the 9th. The Royals and Braves matched up again today. Royals had Angel Zerpa on the mound starting, and Joey Wentz starting for the Braves. Angel Zerpa was very good. He went 1 inning. Joey Wentz was very good. He pitched 6.2 innings of shutout baseball. And Paul Johnson and Dylan Lee and Rizzo Iglesias. But Dable Hernandez gave up the 1 run to win it. The Royals had 9 pitchers pitch a shutout. That's a MLB record. Zerpa went 1. Bolin went 2. John Schreiber went 1. Taylor Clark went 1. Hunter Harvey went 1, but it gave up 2 hits but avoided the runs. Steven Cruz hit 1. Lucas Ergseg went 1. Carlos Estevez pitched 1, and Sam Long pitched 1. He shut him out, and that gave the Royals a win. 1-0. Salvador Perez delivers. The Royals have the day off tomorrow with the trade deadline. Tomorrow we'll report on the deadline more. The Cubs and the Brewers. The Cubs avoid the sweep. The Cubs looking to buy, but nothing happened yet. The Cubs get 10 runs today and win 10-3 as they get the final game of the series against the Brewers. The series was won by the Brewers. The Cardinals lose 5-0 yesterday, as it looks like the Cardinals are selling. Cardinals have dealt off Eric Fried. Let's see if they do more. The Cardinals will play the Marlins again tonight. Cal Quantrill will go for the Marlins, and Mike Velasquez will go for the Cards. Game time, 6:45. Trade. Cincinnati receives Kiwi Bryant and Hayes. And for Pittsburgh, it receives shortstop prospect Sammy Soutafray and right-handed pitcher Tyler Rogers. Rogers is a free agent at the end of the season. The Los Angeles Angels acquiring right-hander Luis Garcia in a trade with the Nationals for Sam Brown and Jake Arrieta. And the Angels also receive Andrew Chafin. And as we said, Luis Garcia. We kick off football more Thursday. We'll talk about that more. Now we move on to mental health. Bipolar and ADD have lots of connections. Sometimes 1 out of 13, approximately 4.4% have bipolar and ADHD. It is an unknown suggestion, but it makes sense to me, with both people having high energy and uptick from their high energy. Bipolar and ADD may go along. The research found that the disorder almost 11 times more likely in people in prior diagnosis of ADHD compared with people who had no prior diagnosis of ADHD or anxiety. They found genetics associated with mania were 25 to 42% associated with ADD. Symptoms struggling that there's some biological connection between the two conditions. Multiple studies, trusted sources have found that ADHD with an earlier onset of bipolar, a frequent high mood episodes, ADHD and bipolar disorder can share symptoms, distractibility, and resources. Difficult ADHD as bipolar can share the symptoms, hyperactivity, and reduced irritability, which makes the diagnosis difficult. The reason that TMS is the mood medication is not working And that is why I'm doing TMS, ADHD, and bipolar disorder symptoms commonly same. People often experience. It's just more research is needed to understand the treatment of people who have ADHD and bipolar. It is suggested that the best option to treat bipolar is first and then target the ADHD, first target the bipolar. This is link is to hearthealthline.com. When I cycled through the episodes feeling so depressed and hopeless, I could barely get out of bed. Periods of inferior energy and super creatively. All the same week, I thought I was crazy when my brain fluttered and cluttered and I couldn't organize my thoughts. Brings myself for a longer 10 minutes. I thought the field personality trait I was stuck on with for life. Turns out I'm crazy. I have bipolar 2 and ADHD. I have cocktail medications, but it took for years and years to frustration, tears, feeling helplessness, and finally a solid mental health care team who helped me with the diagnosis, but getting here wasn't easy. Now I understand that with bipolar 2 and ADHD, I share lots of same symptoms and often clinically are hard to diagnose with each other. This is according to Michigan University Department of Psychiatry. It is Sam Vaughn with Sam's Sports Report and Sam's Mental Health Day. Last news on the sports. The Seattle Mariners acquire left-hander reliever Caleb Ferguson from the Pittsburgh Pirates. No more news on that. Sources tell ESPN.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Today, I'm answering a question asked by someone in my mental wellness community, and that question is, can a person with bipolar disorder take stimulants to also treat ADHD? Here's a little more background. We'll call him Chad. Chad says that he has several disorders, including anxiety, ADHD, PTSD, and more recently, bipolar disorder. He's been taking 2 stimulants, Vyvanse and Adderall, and also an antidepressant, Klonopin, and pain medications for a physical condition. Chad's insurance changed, and he had to switch clinics and see another provider who accepts his insurance. When he went to the new clinic, the provider would not refill the stimulants, saying that stimulants are not recommended in people with bipolar disorder. Chad is very concerned because he's been taking stimulants for ADHD since he was in high school. He started on them after almost failing 9th grade. Now he's in grad school and he's afraid of failing grad school if he's taken off his stimulants. That's the situation, and Chad wanted my thoughts on this. So these are my thoughts, and I have to include the disclaimer that this is not personal medical advice from me. You should always check with your provider before making medication adjustments. Or, if you're not satisfied with your provider's opinions, you should look at getting a second opinion. And second opinions are perfectly appropriate when you have questions about your diagnosis and treatment. In general, stimulants are not recommended for people with bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder where you have episodes of depression and episodes of mania or hypomania. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to say mania to also include hypomania, but the two are different. Depression and mania are at opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the kinds of symptoms you experience. Stimulants trigger psychotic episodes, especially in a manic person, but it can also happen in the depressed phase as well. Stimulants also cause rapid cycling. Rapid cycling is a subtype of bipolar disorder where you have at least 4 episodes in a year. In the usual course of bipolar disorder, a person can have an episode of either depression or mania that lasts for months and then resolves. And they may not have another episode of something for either 6 months or a year. With rapid cycling, it can feel like you're always in some kind of episode of either depression or mania because soon after you come out of one of the episodes, you're entering into another one with very little time in between episodes. So that's rapid cycling. Stimulants can also trigger mixed episodes where you have a blend of depression and mania occurring at the same time. Some people call this being wired but tired. You can have this low mood yet feel at the same time activated and agitated. Mixed episodes are harder to treat than pure depression or mania.